This is LOA Recon with Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we explore the ins and outs of conscious creation to manifest our favorite dreams come true. Let's have some fun together. Happy New Year, fellow creators. Thanks for tuning in for a new episode in 2023. This is my first episode of the new year. Because I just finished launching the Certified Conscious Creator designation at Good Vibe University. I'm so excited about that. If you're a member and you haven't seen it yet, check your inbox for an email announcing that with a link to get started. But that's why this is the first you're hearing from me in this new year. I'm so delighted to be in your world at this. It just feels like such an auspicious time. So thanks for tuning in to play with me and your manifesting powers. I really like what we're up to with this podcast, so thanks for all the encouraging feedback to keep it going. In fact, I am intending to keep my weekly podcast publishing schedule this year like we did last, because it still feels good to me and it's really easy to enjoy. I'm a rising Capricorn, so having some structure in my world is naturally enjoyable for me. There might be a few times here or there where I take the week off, but you can pretty much count on hearing something new from me each week through 2023. Okay, here's what I've been thinking about lately. You know how sometimes we get all ambitious about how this year is going to be different than last year? This is the year we're going to do all the right things and get all the best results. You know what? That routine is great for anyone who can sustain that kind of enthusiasm. But for those of us who do better with something a little more restrained, or maybe we'll call it single-focused rather than the everything now approach, I thought it would be fun to cover a couple of possibilities. These are suggestions for one things that can make the big difference for your new year. So just one of these, I'll cover a handful, but just one can be a game changer when you practice it. I'll share several to pick from, but really, all I'm really doing here with these shares is just inviting you to tune into your own inner wisdom about what will serve you best in the new year. So, these are my top 3 ways to dramatically change the trajectory of your new year. The first one, you might be like, yeah, we know that. We all do know it, but do we practice it? Because practicing is what makes the difference. I'm talking about committing to an appreciation habit. And I mean a stronger one than you already have, because I know most conscious creators already have good appreciation skills. I'm talking about raising your game. And there are so many ways we can play with this, whether it's through a daily gratitude journal entry or adding or reviewing a positive aspect list each day, or, my favorite thing, whiteboard that I love so much. And we have that thread at Good Vibe University too. It is so fun to read everyone's favorite things from the day. Or maybe it could just be deciding to make the best of wherever you're at in the moment. Or maybe it's naming 5 things going right when contrast hits, the way Esther practices it. Abraham has mentioned Esther names 10 things. I like the 10 things is sometimes a stretch for me, but 5's pretty easy. And that's a game changer to manage the vibration like that. Name 5 things going right when contrast hits. I really like that. Or maybe it's to commit to sharing a spontaneous compliment with someone in your world every day. Or what about appreciation of ourselves? Self-love, eye to eye in the mirror. Oh, so many ways to practice self-love, but something like that. All of those would be really fabulous vibrational enhancements to what unfolds for you in the new year if you're not already practicing it. And I know you already do have an appreciation practice, right? Most of us do, right? We can do better. You can raise it even more. It's just, there are few ways for us to come into better alignment with what we want than to be better appreciators. Okay, so that's one idea. Here's another one. It's to drop tolerations on the regular. I'm talking about on a daily basis, just eliminating some sort of little irritation or energy drain or something that's bothering you, making a habit of upgrading your world vibrationally by removing whatever doesn't feel fabulous. One of the things I thought of for myself this year is Okay, I said it as no complaining anymore, but really, I would just be happy with a dramatic reduction. I'm pretty good at this, but I've got room for improvement. So, yeah, to reduce the grumbling or the expressing irritations, that's one. Another toleration. I already did take strong steps. I think I mentioned this. I mentioned it somewhere. It's probably on a GVU call, but one of my other irritations was I didn't have enough time, creative time for all the projects that are calling me. My calendar just had limited white space. So I gave myself more white space this year. That was eliminating when it came from, yeah, I did mention it because I told everyone, hire Amy Schlurb from now on. I'm just coaching GVU members. That's all. So it's giving me more white space for the things that I want to create. Anyway, it's an easy way for us to raise our standards and just refuse to settle with whether it's little or maybe even big things that are draining our vibe, whether it's relationships or something in your environment or something in your money world, whatever you notice that irritates or bothers you. It's a feasible goal, I think, to release one energy drain every day. Remember, this is what Jack Canfield said when someone asked him, okay, I'm down with law of attraction, where do I start? His answer was, make a list of irritations and start knocking them out one by one. It's effective. Sometimes just doing this, just knocking out one thing that was bothering you is what allows the manifestation to come through that had been waiting for you to just feel a little bit better. And let's also remember how to eliminate tolerations. I won't do the long version of this, but it's just whatever it is that's bothering you, get it handled or delegate it to someone else or decide that it doesn't matter after all. I had one of those last night. I was in the kitchen and I noticed that someone who had been cooking dinner had not opened the drawers or the pantries or the refrigerators with very clean hands. I could just feel someone's been in here with dirty hands. All right. And it was right on the tip of my tongue. I had a little grumble on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to wipe this up again. I was going to say out loud. And you know what? I just decided it was not worth it. He had made a lovely dinner for us. And I have always said the cook doesn't clean. And he cleans anyway. He does every time. He doesn't leave it for me. Or I should say, he cleans to his standards. He would say he cleans to mine. But I am a little OCD, so that's pretty tricky to do. So as I was standing there feeling the faucet had just this little residue of some food on it, I was like, you know what, girl? Just get it handled your own self. It took like 10 seconds to wipe it up myself. And in that time, I could appreciate that this is all I had to do to enjoy a really nice home-cooked dinner. Okay, that's one way to eliminate a toleration is just decide it doesn't bother you after all. But the other, we could use that IRIR formula they teach in coaching school. They teach coaches to give this to clients. It's to help them set boundaries. It stands for inform, request, insist, remove, right? Like in my example, it could have been just saying, hey, sweetheart, I noticed when you cook, the faucet handle is sticky or the refrigerator door gets or whatever. I could just point it out. Sometimes just informing them is enough for them to change what they're doing that isn't your most favorite thing. But often a simple request on the heels of that informing them comes in handy. Like you could just say, hey, could you make a point of wiping things down after you're done? I'd really appreciate it. Or it would make your amazing meals even more enjoyable if I wasn't in here cleaning. I even can't finish that sentence because I sound so ungrateful. It felt better to me to just pull out a little wipe and clean it up myself. Okay. So every time we drop a toleration, every time we raise our vibrational standards, universe hears us, that we require more, that we expect better, that we're acclimating to vibrational improvement, and it responds in kind. It's a really easy way to let your manifestations in by just addressing the little irritations or the big ones to raise your vibe. And maybe one a day feels like a lot, but one a week would be easy, right? We could all do that. It's important that whatever habit you engage, it has to be enjoyable, or else it's, number one, not sustainable, and number two, it won't work anyway because the whole point is to feel better. right? Finding some way to feel better. That's all we're playing with here, with all these different ideas. What's a fun and easy and effective way for you to consistently feel even just a little bit better this year? Okay, those are 2 ideas I had. Oh, here's a third one. I like this. How do we describe this? You could say it as prioritize a joy, or you could also describe it as trust your guidance more. Those are the same things. So, you know how we each have that inner wisdom that's guiding us to dreams come true? It's pointing the way there by the way it calls us through whatever feels better, through our joy or our relief. Look, I'm not going to say if, when we get better at listening to that and honoring it, not just hearing it, but also following it, we would have a dramatically different year when we do that. And I'm going to say it's so easy to do. I like that story. Join me in it, won't you? It could be as simple as listening to whatever joys are calling you and then honoring them to whatever extent you can without excuses or regrets or worries. Because, if you feel nervous about it, you're not actually feeling better, so it doesn't help. So you really need to let it be a good thing. And remember, it wouldn't be calling you if it wasn't beneficial in some way. Last year, what was calling me was more reading. I wasn't reading as much as I'd like to, so I'm committed to making more time for it. And I already read a little bit every night right before bed, but I wanted more reading time than that. So I made a promise to myself to read every day. And oh my gosh, it felt so good to give myself that gift last year. Oh, I loved it so much. I'm continuing it this year. And you know what? Every time I picked up a book in the middle of the day to know that this was part of my manifesting strategy, this was part of my alignment plan, it gave me permission to enjoy it, and it was really good for my vibration. I had a lot of really good dreams come true in 2022, and a couple of them were pretty big too. But the most extreme example of the power of practicing this, some of you have heard me talk about this before, it's when I started my coaching practice, and I really, really, I was going to say wanted, but I needed clients in order to make that gig work. So I was feeling pressure to grow a successful business. And you know what kept calling me? It was dog walks. Over and over, what felt better was take the dogs for a walk up the canyon, not just around the neighborhood on a leash, around the block. It was get in the car, drive to the canyon, go off leash. It was every day it was the same thing. Okay, almost every day it was the same thing. And that didn't make any sense to me because I thought guidance would, put me in the office and deliver a brilliant idea or show me some amazing marketing resource that was super fun and effective. But no, it kept calling me to the canyon with the dogs. So I honored that, even though it made no sense at the time. Day after day after day, what sounded best was yet another dog walk. So we kept going, and I never met a single client on the trail, not once. But in hindsight, what I realized, and this was well after, I built a full practice in 3 months. What I realized afterwards was that I was being called to vibration rehab. It was my energetic therapy because I was pretty burned out from my stint in corporate world. And yeah, I guess my inner guidance knew I needed to feel better, pronto. And the best way for me to do that was, and still is, frankly, for me to get in nature with the dogs. So yeah, I built that full practice in 3 months with a website that turned out to be invisible because it was before I knew you were supposed to drive traffic to your site or buy ads or anything like that. I mean, I knew we were supposed to network, tell everyone we know, but I never did that because that did not feel good to me. So I knew it wouldn't work. So I didn't do any of that. All I really did was, I did a lot of dog walks, but what I also did was a lot of aligning practices. I was pray-rain journaling my clients. I was affirming them with a mantra. I'm a brilliant coach in high demand. I was writing their names on the calendar. I had files with their made-up names already on them. I mean, I was doing all the alignment stuff that appealed to me to do, but the only other action I was inspired to, besides hiring that girl who made me the invisible flash site with no coding or SEO in it before I understood what any of that was dog walks. Off-leash dog walks up Trapper's Loop in Mill Creek, or Mormon Flats near Park City, or Rose Canyon in Harriman. Such beautiful places to be. And it would eat up most of my day, like it was a minimum of a 4-hour event. And I'd think, man, shouldn't I be in the office doing something? But my guidance kept calling me to the woods, to the trails. So I went, and it worked out really well. So you know what? Speaking of listening to your inner being as a manifesting strategy, now's a perfect time to practice that. Your guidance might be suggesting something different than those 3 suggestions I just offered. Maybe your guidance wants you to spend less time in action and more time finding pleasure in the vision, as Abraham says. Or I also like how they say, imagine yourself into the success. Oh, isn't that a lovely way to think about it? Maybe that's where your guidance calls you. Or maybe it's to engage a practice of validating and approving of or satisfying yourself before expecting anyone else in your world to do so. Or maybe it's to pick something from your someday list, right? And take the first step to make it a today thing, or at least an it's happening thing. Or maybe it's to meditate daily. My guidance, oh my gosh, I got the most amazing hack for that. Oh my word. I love how my divine team knows what works for me and what doesn't. Oh, don't you love how much we can trust that inner wisdom? Or maybe your wisdom is calling you to make more time for friends or family or yourself and less time for work or TV or social media or something else altogether. Who knows? Only you know what serves you best. Listen to that guidance, whatever it is, and just pick one thing to say yes to now and see where that leads you next. You cannot go wrong with a plan like that for the new year. I hope we get to play more together in 2023. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and happy Monday.